طيب إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ويستحق كل محامد. هو الذي أرسل رسوله بالهدى والدين الحق وبلغ الرسالة وأدى الأمانة ونصح الأمة وجاهد في الله حق جهاده وترك الأمة على البيضاء ليلها كنهارها ولا يزيغ عنها إلا هالك. صلى الله على نبينا وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد. طيب يا إخوة, we mentioned some of the principles of Allah's names. I mentioned about 4 of them, I think. I mentioned 4 of them. What's the first one? Ahsan?
You have to believe in the wujud of Allah.
No, not the pillars of believing in Allah. Some of the principles in Asma Sifat. What's the first one?
All names of Allah are beautiful.
That's the one. That's one of the principles. All the names of Allah is beautiful. What does it mean when we say Allah's names are beautiful?
All of the attributes and names that He has are praiseworthy. Like, we don't ascribe anything that's madhmoom to Him.
Okay.
So, such as like mustahzi or others.
Okay. So all the names of Allah beautiful mean that we do not attribute anything to Allah that imperfection to Him. All the names are praiseworthy also because of what? The names are beautiful for what?
The names of Allah.
Beautiful. Why they are beautiful? The one that we mentioned, gone. Okay, every name of Allah attached to it is sifa, attribute. So when we take a name of Allah, that's part of the beauty of the name of Allah. It has an attribute to it, along with attributes. So when we gave some of the examples, Ar-Rahman, it has sifa Ar-Rahma, Al-Aziz, Izzah, like that. So every name of Allah is attached to it, sifa. That's one of the reasons it's beautiful. Also, what's the other one? Do you remember?
Is it to the different types of sifa?
No. It's beautiful also because Allah's names, if you call by these names, Allah accepts it. And Allah commands us to call by these names. وَلِلَّهِ الْأَسْمَاءُ الْحُسْنَى فَادْعُوا بِهَا. To Allah be the beautiful name, call by them. Call by these names. So that's one of the principles we've mentioned regarding Allah's name. They're beautiful. Husna. And Husna is feminine of Ahsan. Tayyib, what's the second principle?
That it's not restricted to 99.
Okay, Allah's names are not restricted to 99 names. Tayyib. So what does that mean when we say Inna lillahi tis'a wa tis'een isman man ahsaha dakhala jannah? That Allah has 99 names, whoever memorizes it will enter Jannah.
Or the meaning?
What does that mean, ahsaha, if you memorize them? So if someone just memorizes, he's going to go Jannah?
No, he needs to live by them as well. And there's the narration of I think it was the mother and daughter, they ran out of milk.
Yeah, okay.
And the mother thought we should add more water to it, but then the daughter reminded her saying that Allah is Al-Basir. The people might not know, but Allah will be aware of it.
Yeah.
And I think Umar bin Khattab, he praised them or something.
Yeah. So there's 3 things. Man ahsaha dakhala jannah. Ahsa, to count. But here means to memorize the name, understand them. Thirdly, to live by it. These 3 things. Man ahsaha dakhala jannah. Tayyib. What are the principles? Do you remember, Yusuf? Do you remember?
That Allah chose these names for Himself, Tawqifiyah.
Okay, Tawqifiyah, mashallah. All the names of Allah are Tawqifiyah. What does it mean, Tawqifiyah? Tawqifiyah. The word from waqaf, it means to pause on.
It requires dalil from Kitab and Sunnah. If it's
Okay,
tawqifiyah.
so we limit ourselves to Quran and Sunnah. The tawaqqaf, we pause on Quran and Sunnah. So every name, the attributes of Allah or the names are from Quran and the Sunnah. That's why we pause. We don't go beyond that. We stick to the Quran and Sunnah. Then we said that if you don't, then basically you're going to give a name to Allah without knowledge, and it is fall under the ayah that the worst oppressor is the one speaking of Allah without knowledge. Okay, so you're creating a lie against Allah. This is not good. So we can't give can't give Allah a name that He never named Himself. So we have to stick to that. Alhamdulillah. So these are some of the, my brothers, we mentioned some of the principles of Asma of Allah Azza wa Jal. Today, inshallah, we'll go and discuss some of the principle of Sifat, inshallah, because I think we need to know that as well. Now, the second part of the topic is the Sifat Now, every sifat of Allah, okay, that we affirm, the kamal, the perfect, there is no imperfection in that, okay? Otherwise, He will not be Allah. So Allah's name is all perfect. It doesn't have in imperfection. Whereas the attribute of the creation is imperfection, but it's perfect for the creation. So for Allah, we do not attribute to Him anything imperfection like sleeping, forgetfulness, tiredness, anything like that, death, eating, drinking. I mean, we do not attribute any of these to Allah Azza wa Jal, because these attributes only for the creation, and Allah is free from all that. طيب. So if we take the attributes of Allah, hayat, life, which is attributes from the name Al-Hayy. So Allah's hayat, Allah's life has no imperfection, meaning that He has no beginning, He has no end. In His life, He never gets tired, He never dies, He never, anything like that. So Allah's hayat has no beginning, He has no end. He's ever living. He's ever living. That's one. If you take another name of Allah, attributes of Allah Azza wa Jalla, like As-Sami', As-Sam', hearing. Again, this attribute doesn't have any form of imperfection. He hears everything. There's nothing in the heaven and the earth that happen without Allah having heard of it. He can hear everything. Every conversation that takes place, even in the heart when He speaks, Allah has knowledge of that. Al-Basir, Al-Basr, the attributes. Allah sees everything. There's nothing in the heaven and that except Allah has knowledge. Allah can see that. Al-Alim, knowledge, the attributes al-ilm, the knower of everything. There's nothing in the heaven and that except Allah has knowledge of that. So like that, every attribute of Allah Azza wa Jal that we know of, they have no imperfection in that. Allah said, وَمَا كَانَ اللَّهُ لِيُعْجِزَهُ مِنْ شَيْءٍ فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَلَا فِي الْأَرْضِ. That nothing in the heaven and the earth burdens Allah. Okay? Nothing in the heaven and the earth. Nothing difficult for Allah Azza wa Jal. Nothing burdens, not heavy for Allah, burdens Allah Azza wa Jal. Or nothing make Him incapable. So we negate that ajaz. Ajaz means something, someone incapable of doing something. Allah is far from that. So when we negate that from Allah, we affirm al-Qudra. Allah has power of doing everything. Okay? So when we talk about His sifat, we affirm, we believe that all the attributes of Allah Azza wa Jal is perfect. There's no imperfection in that. That's one of the principles of sifat of Allah Azza wa Jal. طيب, the second principle is that أن الصفات أوسع من الأسماء. This is good as well. The shaykhul also talks about it in Tadmuri and others. That sifat of Allah are more broader than names of Allah. So Allah has, say for example, He has 99 names, He has 99 attributes. But He has more attributes. Like Allah has Allah's speech, Allah's will, Allah's wrath, Allah's He has hand that befits Allah, He has eye that befits Him. You have all other attributes, okay? More than the names. Okay? The ulama says that Babul Sifat awsa' min Babil Asma. The Sifat of Allah is more broader than the names. Meaning the Sifat are more than the names. Then we have another one, Babul Akhbar awsa' min Babil Sifat. Akhbar, we have mentioned certain things we affirm for Allah Azza wa Jal, that, for example, makr, okay, plotting, mocking. This thing we affirm for Allah in Babul Akhbar, meaning that in a akhbar is something that information, okay, we affirm it for Allah Azza wa Jal in a form of revenge. We mentioned some of the verse, isn't it? Like وَيَمْكُرُونَ وَيَمْكُرُ اللَّهُ وَيَمْكُرُونَ وَيَمْكُرُ اللَّهُ. That their plot, Allah is the plotter. وَيَمْكُرُونَ وَيَمْكُرُ اللَّهُ. Their plot, Allah is plots, okay? Allah khairul makirin, and Allah the best of the planner. So we affirm Allah plans as a revenge. How is it revenge? وَيَمْكُرُونَ. Who does the plotting? The kuffar. وَيَمْكُرُ اللَّهُ. And Allah plots. Allah comes second, meaning that if they plots or plans, Allah plans it. Okay? Again, another example, when يخادعون الله وهو خادعهم. They deceive Allah. They think they're deceiving Allah, but Allah deceives them. Revenge. You know, this is intiqam. That's how we affirm. We affirm because Allah doing this to defend the deen of Allah, to defend the awliya of Allah Azza wa Jal. Okay? They plot against the deen, Allah plots against them. Okay? Istihza. When they said, إِنَّنَا مَعَكُمْ إِنَّ Subhanallah. The munafiqun says, we are with you, we're just walking with them, and Allah mocks. Here, Allah mocks against the people who mocks against Islam. That's the revenge. Okay? Allah, that's why we cannot affirm these attributes, these things, the attributes of Allah Azza wa Jal, because they are not really praiseworthy. Only praiseworthy is that if it's intiqam, if it's a revenge. Okay? It's like if you're gonna swear at me, I'm gonna swear at you. If you hit me, I'm gonna hit you. It's like that. Okay? If you're gonna plot, Allah will plot. If you deceive the believers, Allah will deceive you. If you mock against the deen, Allah will mock against you. It's like that. طيب. So the ulama says, from the Babul Akhbar, from the news, we affirm these things. But we don't say these are attributes of Allah Azza wa Jal. Okay? So they say that the talking about certain things in way of news is greater than the sifat of Allah Azza wa Jal. طيب. الصفات أوسع من باب الأسماء. طيب. Attributes are more broader than the names. And the akhbar, anything news about Allah Azza wa Jal, which we affirm certain things, but they aren't really His attributes. Like we gave example. They're more wider than sifat of Allah Azza wa Jal. طيب. We covered all that. Now, the next principle is that we mentioned that sifat, aqsamut sifat, the categories of sifat. What are they? We just mentioned it, inshallah. Thubutiyah and salbiyah. Thubutiyah is sifat we affirm for Allah Azza wa Jal, and we say that there are two types, dhatiyah and fi'liyah. Okay? Dhatiyah, that relates to essence. For example, there are two types, khabariyah and ma'nawiyah. Like ma'nawiyah is every name has attributes. Okay? Ma'nawiyah is that. Khabariyah is something about Allah Azza wa Jal, information that Allah has eyes that befits Allah. He has hand that befits Him. These are called khabariyah, but dhatiyah as well. Dhatiyah, that relates to essence, you cannot separate from Allah Azza wa Jal. These attributes, they're attributes of Allah Azza wa Jal, you cannot separate them. طيب. So these are the attributes of Allah Azza wa Jal. So thubutiyah, you got two types. Thubutiyah, two types. Dhatiyah and fi'liyah. Dhatiyah, two types. Fi'liyah, that we affirm for Allah Azza wa Jal certain attributes, like His istiwa, related to His action, His wrath, His rida, happiness. He is the creator, He creates things, part of action of Allah Azza wa Jal. طيب. So these are fi'liyah, that relates to His actions. We affirm them all because Allah affirmed it. A salbiyah is something that we negate from Allah. We mentioned some of that. It was like death, eating, drinking, sleeping, tiredness. We do not affirm any of them for Allah Azza wa Jal. Salbiyah is to strip off. We remove this from Allah Azza wa Jal. We don't affirm that for Allah Azza wa Jal. طيب. So these are some of the principles in Asma wa Sifat. We covered Sifat today. Inshallah, try and remember them, inshallah. طيب. What we'll do, inshallah. So we covered the some of the principles in Sifat. Now, so Shaykhul Islam said, وَمِنَ الْإِيمَانُ بِاللَّهِ وَمِنَ الْإِيمَانِ. وَمِنْ here تَبْعِيض. Some of the belief in Allah Azza wa Jal, الإيمان بما وصف الله بنفسه في كتابه وبما وصف رسول صلى الله عليه وسلم. That part of the belief in Allah is that you have to believe what Allah describes Himself in the Quran and what Prophet described in the Sunnah. So what is the pillar of Iman billah? to believe He exists, His lordship, His worship, His names and attributes. So the names and attributes is part of the belief of all that. That's what it is. وَمِنَ الْإِيمَانُ بِاللَّهِ. So part of the belief in Allah Azza wa Jal, that we have to believe that. Why is Shaykhul Islam saying like that? Because now we're going to enter the actual book, which is Asma Sifat. So he's saying that this book is related to Allah's names and attributes, not Rububiyyah, not Uluhiyyah. But this is part of believing in Allah Azza wa Jal. So we covered that. We gave some of the aqwal ulama, saying of the ulama, statement of the ulama regarding Allah's names and attributes. طيب. So Shaykhul Islam continues. Then he says, we believe everything that Allah described Himself in the Quran and the Prophet described in the Sunnah. He never left it there. He continued. He said, من غير تحريف وتعطيل ولا تعطيل ومن غير تكييف ولا تمثيل. So we're going to cover this inshallah. We talk about this today. Now, before we start this, I want to add something else regarding Allah's names and attributes. That is, when we talk about Allah's names and attributes, the scholars have categorized them. Okay? They say Asma wa Sifat or Asma'ullah wa Sifatuhu tadullu ila ijlal. That Allah's names and attributes that has meaning of ijlal or quwwa, the power, the most powerful, the most dominant over everything. That is Allah's name, like Al-Qahhar, Al-Jabbar, Al-Aziz, Al-Mutakabbir. These names, categories of all the name, is that they fall under ijlal, the noble one, the most powerful one, the most greatest one. These names indicates to that. Al-Qahhar. When you say Allah is Al-Qahhar, the most powerful. Al-Kabir, the greatest. Al-Jabbar indicate His sovereignty, the powerful, most powerful one. That's one of the aspects of names of Allah. The second aspect of named attributes of Allah Azza wa Jal is indicates to something Rahma, Jameel, and these are some of the names like Al-Wadud. When you read the name Allah, named Al-Wadud, you feel He loves His believers, and He's loved as well. So Al-Wadud indicates He's merciful. Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim. These are soft names. They show Allah is most merciful. Al-Ghafur, Al-Afu, the forgiver, the one who wipes our sins. When you read His name, what makes you think of Allah? He's most merciful. He's soft. He's kind. He's generous. He overlooks. But when you read Al-Qahhar, Al-Jabbar, you don't look at that. You look, he's the most powerful, he's the most greatest. These names fall under this category, different categories. The third one is that when you read Allah's name, it shows that He's uluhiyyah. He is dominant over the ibadah, that He should be worshipped alone. Some of the name indicates to that, like Allah, Ar-Rabb. Okay? These two names comes in hand. So when we say Allah, Al-Ilah or Ar-Rabb, shows that He deserves the worship alone. That's one of the categories. Also, when we read the names, attributes of Allah Azza wa Jal, the fourth category, the ulama says that it shows His rububiyyah. Because when Allah Azza wa Jal talks about He's the Lord, He's the creator, the provider, the controller of the heaven and the earth, shows He's the Lord of the heaven and the earth. He is, He take care of the heaven and the earth. That's what it is. So these are four categories out of 99 names. If you were to divide them, it's like you got four segments. Yeah, you take the name of Allah, that name, and put it here, that there. It's like that. They fall under subheading. That's what the ulama have mentioned. طيب. So having said that, we have to believe all the names and attributes of Allah Azza wa Jal without falling into any of this. If you fall into these things, that will nullify our sifat of Allah Azza wa Jal, our belief in Asma Sifat. We cannot fall into this thing. And as we go along, inshallah, as we study, we'll see how the mubtadi'un, the people of innovation, they fall into this because they fall into these categories. The first is tahrif, that we do not make tahrif in the sifat of Allah, in the names and attributes of Allah Azza wa Jal. What does tahrif mean? Tahrif means tagheer, to change, to distort. When we do Asma Sifat of Allah, mean tahrif, to distort the name of Allah, either by wording or the meaning. By wording or the meaning. طيب. Now, I want to add something else. There's another word shaykhul Islam did not use. There's a reason behind it. You got tahrif and ta'wil. Okay? There's a difference between those two words. Now, ta'wil, someone made ta'wil of the ayah, meaning it could mean distort. Okay? Ta'wil also comes with other meanings, like tafsir. Like Imam Tabari, when you read his tafsir, he says, ta'wilu hazil ayah. The tafsir means tafsir of this ayah. So he used ta'wil, not tafsir, to say this, the explanation of this ayah is this. So ta'wil comes as a praiseworthy, generally. And when Prophet ﷺ said about Ibn Abbas, he made dua for Ibn Abbas, Allahumma faqih fi din wa allimhu ta'wil. Wa Allah give him understanding of the deen and give him the knowledge of ta'wil and tafsir. And he became the Hebrew Ummah, the mufassir of this Ummah, Ibn Abbas. طيب, ترجمة القرآن. So, ta'wil has other meaning as well. Allah mentioned in the Quran ta'wil so many times, when Allah said, وَمَا يَعْلَمُ تَأْوِيلَهُ إِلَّا اللَّهُ وَالرَّاسِخُونَ فِي الْعِلْمِ وَمَا يَعْلَمُ تَأْوِيلَهُ. They do not, Allah talks about the ayat, different ayat. Then at the end of the ayat, he says, ayat that is mutashabihat, ayat that is ambiguous. Okay, it's ambiguous not because deen is ambiguous, it's ambiguous to the people. They have no knowledge of the deen. Allah said, وَمَا يَعْلَمُ تَأْوِيلَهُ. That nobody knows tafsir of this ayat except Allah and the ulama. Okay, so وَمَا يَعْلَمُ تَأْوِيل mean the وَمَا يَعْلَمُ tafsir. Here means tafsir. When Yusuf alayhi salam said to the people, to his parents, هَذَا تَأْوِيلُ رُؤْيَايَ min qabl. When Yusuf alayhi salam saw the dream, that and toward the end of the story, when they made sajda to Yusuf alayhi salam, at the beginning of the story, star and the moon, they made sajda, isn't it? End of the story, his parents and brothers, they all made sajda. That's the tafsir. That's what it means. Okay, so he said, هذا تأويل رؤياي. This is the tafsir of this dream. So ta'wil mean tafsir. Okay, so number one, ta'wil mean tafsir. Second meaning mean jaza. Allah talks about jaza. He used ta'wil, jaza, punishment. Okay, when Allah spoke about the kuffar, Allah said, هل ينظرون إلا تأويلا. يوم القيامة هل ينظرون هل ينتظرون. And the kuffar, hal here mean is question, but istinkar, reprimanding it. Okay, the kuffar will be waiting except for their ta'wil, their reward, their jaza, their punishment, their adab. So here ta'wil mean jaza. With jaza comes good and bad. Here jaza means the adab of Allah Azza wa Jal. طيب. So shaykhul Islam did not say min ghayri ta'wil. He said tahrif. Because ta'wil has many other meaning, good meaning as well. طيب. But tahrif, only bad meaning. And Allah used tahrif for the Jews. When the Jews, they distort the meaning of the Quran. Allah said, يُحَرِّفُونَ الْكَلِمَ عَنْ مَوَاضِعِهِ. That the Jews, they distort the word from the correct meaning. So the meaning is like this, they give wrong meaning to it. We'll give some of the examples, inshallah. طيب. So tahrif and ta'wil, that's the difference. Tahrif, as we have said, is to distort the meaning of the verse and give the meaning which is not the true meaning. Now, in the Quran, tahrif can happen two ways. Tahrif, lafzan wa ma'nan. Lafzan is, the word is there, okay, you just add fatha to dhamma to kasra. You change the harakat, but the word is there. Okay, like it's a common example the ulama give when Allah said, وَكَلَّمَ اللَّهُ مُوسَى تَكْلِيمًا. وَكَلَّمَ اللَّهُ مُوسَى تَكْلِيمًا. And Allah spoke to Musa. Not Musa spoke to Allah. Allah spoke to Musa alayhi salam. طيب. So we affirm Allah has a speech. Okay. So the Mu'tazila, they read like that, but they make ta'wil, tahrif. Or we say tahrif, they will say وَكَلَّمَ اللَّهَ Musa taklima. That Musa spoke to Allah. So they change the fa'il maf'ulun bi, other way around. طيب. So that's a tahrif lafzan, the word. Because the wording is still there, you change the harakat. طيب. The Mu'tazila and Jahmiyyah, they were good at, they do this a lot. Okay. And group of them went to this, one of the Imam, Abu Amr bin Ala, Abu Amr bin Ala, one of the Qurra, reciter of the Quran. And he was a scholar of Ahl Sunnah. And because he's a Qurra, they said to him, كلم الله موسى تكليما كلم الله ها موسى تكليما. Can you do that? He says, no. He said, okay, when Allah said, وَلَمَّا جَاءَ مُوسَى لِمِيقَاتِنَا وَكَلَّمَهُ رَبُّهُ. Okay, when Musa came to a position, the mountain, when he came to Musa, Musa came to our station, وَكَلَّمَهُ رَبُّهُ, and his Lord spoke to him. Can you change that grammatically? You can't change that. So when they heard that, and they became foolish. They became stunned. That you can't change that ayah of the Quran. Other one you can turn it other way around, but you can't change it here. Grammatically, you can't do that. So وَكَلَّمَهُ رَبُّهُ. Okay, his Lord spoke to Musa alayhi salam. طيب. So that's what Mu'tazila and Jahmiyyah went to this Imam Abu Amr bin Ala. طيب. So tahrif, that's the lafzan. Okay, you change the harakat. Now tahrif ma'nawi is that you have the word, you change the meaning of the word. Okay. For example, Ar-Rahmanu ala al-Arshi istawa. Okay, the most merciful rose above his throne. They will say istawla. He conquered the throne. Yadu billah. So they've changed the word of istawa to istawla, which is a tahrif lafzan or ma'nan, meaning if they've changed the meaning to istawa to istawla. Also, when Allah spoke about the Jews, when Allah told them to enter the village, and He said, وَقُولُوا حِطَّةً وَقُولُوا حِطَّةً, and say, forgive me, istighfar, make istighfar. And they say, وَقُولُوا hinta. They're mocking, yadu billah. They're just mocking with the word. It doesn't mean anything. Hinta doesn't mean anything. So hitta, hinta. So they've changed the word, adding a noon to they think they're playing with Allah Azza wa Jalla, yadu billah. So that's tahrif al-ma'na, because you've changed the word to hitta to hinta. طيب. So what is the ruling of what are the ruling of tahrif? Now tahrif, Imam al-Tahawi rahimahullah, he has mentioned that tahrif can be major sin, okay, can be a kufr. Tahrif can be a major sin, can be just a sin, or can be a mistake. Okay, depend on it. Now this type of tahrif, tahrif lafzan wa ma'nan, okay, it can happen to the people, juhala. So when they read Quran, they make tahrif. You can make tahrif. For example, Surah Fatiha, for example, we say Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Someone can say Alhamdulillah, ala, istifhamiyya. That's tahrif. You've distorted the meaning, but they don't know, they're ignorant people, they overlooked. Okay, or when they give adhan, Allahu Akbar, you can say Allahu Akbar. Yadu billah. That's tahrif as well. Okay, Qul huwa Allah, Qul huwa Allah, or Qul hu, Qul fu. Or you don't say Qul, you say Qul. These are tahrif. Shaykh mentions this, and these tahrif not accepted obviously, but if someone makes this type of tahrif, then they are overlooked because of the mistake they make. I'm sure uncles and the Bengali, they do, because it's difficult for them to pronounce the letters. Even Shaykh mentions this. One of the Shaykh wrote a book on tajweed. Mistake is Surah Fatiha, Shaykh Musa Nazar, rahimahullah. And he mentioned that certain type of people find difficult to pronounce certain words. Sad and Dad, and they find difficult. So the makharij, the pronunciation becomes wrong. Okay? and they distort the meaning of the ayah. So that happens because of lack of knowledge, and these are overlooked because this is a mistake. Hadith is there, but those who make mistake knowingly to confuse the people, Ahl Bid'ah and things like that, they make tahrif, and then this is not acceptable. So in the Quran, people Mu'tazila and Jahmiyyah, they make tahrif, to misguide the people. Now, so when it comes to Asma wa Sifat of Allah Azza wa Jal, we have to abandon these things. First is tahrif, then ماذا؟ ولا تعطيل. Now, ولا تعطيل. We have to abandon تعطيل. Now, what is تعطيل? تعطيل معنى الترك وتخلية. أنا ترك, to abandon, to leave, to abandon something. عطلت كذا كذا, I've left. عطلت شيء, I've abandoned something. Okay, so Allah says in the Quran, وبئر معطلة, وبئر معطلة, بئر. The ulama said this بئر معطلة somewhere is situated in Hadramaut or something. In Tafsir says Yemen somewhere. Okay, so here it's a bear which has been abandoned. So معطلة معنى ترك, it's been abandoned, left. طيب, it's been abandoned. طيب, so linguistically تعطيل mean to abandon something, and Allah's talking about this bi'r being abandoned, the well being abandoned. Now, Islamically, when we talk about ta'atil in Asma wa Sifat of Allah Azza wa Jal, those who left, abandoned Asma wa Sifat of Allah Azza wa Jal, don't believe in Asma wa Sifat of Allah Azza wa Jal, and among them Ahl Ta'atil, we have Ahl Ta'atil, and then Ahl Ta'atil at different levels. Okay, and Imam Ahmad mentioned that Jahmiyyah are Ahl Ta'atil, and he made takfir on them. And the ulama says when Imam Ahmad made takfir on Jahmiyyah, it's a general takfir, not specific, general takfir. طيب, so ta'atil, two categories. You have Ahlul Bid'ah who fell to ta'atil, who denied sifat of Allah in totality. For example, Jahmiyyah. Jahmiyyah are the people who denied sifat of Allah Azza wa Jal. Not only denying sifat of Allah Azza wa Jal, they have done other bid'ah. They've done bid'ah of irja, taking action from iman. They've done bid'ah of Quran being created. This is the bid'ah, they've spread it as well. Also the bid'ah they have done, Jahm bin Safwan propagated the bid'ah, the Jannah and Nar will be perish. Come a time, they both will perish. So not only that, subhanallah, a lot of bid'ah they have spread it. So mu'attilun naw'an. Mu'attilun Jahmiyyah, they're kuffar. Okay, they're kuffar because they deny the Asma Sifat in totality. Now, the reason being they deny it, they say that we deny the Sifat of Allah Azza wa Jal is because affirming His Sifat, His attributes, it necessitates that Allah is like creation. Okay? And they use that principle to say that we don't believe any Sifat of Allah Azza wa Jal. Because if you start believing it, you're making Allah like the creation. We say, no, we don't. Affirming you have eyes, I'm not making you like a bird, am I? Or affirming you have a leg, doesn't make you like a tiger or something like that. So every creation has attribute that befits the creation. So Allah has attribute that befits Allah Azza wa Jal. Shaykh ibn Uthaymeen, he gave something like that example. MashaAllah. طيب, so Jahmiyyah are the kuffar. Jahmiyyah, they follow the way of Jahm bin Safwan. And he took it from Ja'ad. Ja'ad took it from Talut. Talut took it from Labib bin A'sam, the one who did sihr on Prophet ﷺ. So their sanad is kufriya. The sanad is not it's kufr in it. So that's what Jahm is from, and he teaches us as well. So Jahmiyyah are mu'attilun, those who deny the sifat of Allah Azza wa Jal, Ahl Ta'atil. The second category of Ahl Ta'atil are not kuffar, they're Muslims. Okay? They affirm some, they deny some. Like you have Mu'tazila, Ash'ara. And Mu'tazila, they affirm the name, don't affirm the sifat. So they will say Allah is as-Sami'. We don't say he has sifat as-Sam'. Al-Alim, he doesn't have sifat al-Ilm. Like this. So it doesn't make sense. Because Allah is Alim because he has a sifat al-Ilm. Why is Allah al-Alim? Because he is the knower. So you can't call Allah Alim when you don't have a knowledge, if he doesn't have the knowledge. It's like if someone is a doctor, you have to say he's a doctor, isn't it? You can't say, no, he's no doctor, but he is a doctor. So Allah Azza wa Jal has attribute that befits him. He's as-Sami' because he hears everything. So he has attribute as-Sam'. But the Mu'tazila, they don't affirm that. So they affirm the names, but they deny the sifat of Allah Azza wa Jal. Okay? Ash'ara, they affirm the names, but they only affirm the 9 sifat of Allah Azza wa Jal. And they are al-ilmu, the knowledge, al-sam', the hearing, al-basr, hearing, and al-basr, the seeing, al-hayat, the life, al-irada, will, kalam, speech of Allah, the 7 I think, not, and then another one. They only affirm 7 sifat of Allah Azza wa Jal, and they deny everything else. طيب, they affirm all the names. The Ash'ara, they are mubtadi', they are Ahlul Bid'ah, and the ulama, Abu Musa al-Ash'ari is not, it's not a group, it's a name of a tribe. Abu Musa al-Ash'ari is the same tribe from, Abu Hasan al-Ash'ari is a tribe of Yemen. He's from Yemen. He's same tribe with Abu Musa al-Ash'ari, radiyallahu anhu. They're from the same tribe. So Ash'ari is a tribe in Yemen, and he's from that. Now, Abu Hasan al-Ash'ari, he went through different phases in his life. He was a Mu'tazila. Then he became Kullabiyya. Because what happened, he was a Kullabiyya, he followed the word Ibn Kullab. Then his mother died. Then what happened was, his mother married again, and the guy she married was Mu'tazila. And he studied under him, Abu Hasan Ash'ari, and he became Mu'tazila, okay, for some time. Okay. Then he studied, he came long after Imam Ahmed. So what happened is that, so he went 2 phases. Third phase, he became from Ahl Sunnah. He read book of Imam Ahmed and things like that. And then he wrote Al-Ibana. Okay, Al-Ibana he wrote. And on that book, he explains Aqeedah of Ahl Sunnah. And his Aqeedah was Aqeedah Imam Ahmed. Maybe 1 or 2 minor mistakes, as Shaykhul Islam mentioned, but he was from Ahl Sunnah. So he retracted everything, and he mentioned in Al-Ibana. So the ulama says, Ash'ara are 2 types. Ash'ara, which are extreme, those who never retracted, and they were Ash'ara of Ahlul Bid'ah. And the Ash'ara of the latest one is that who retracted their opinion, and they followed the way of Abu Hasan Ash'ari in Aqeedah. And that book, Ibana, was praised by a lot of ulama. A lot of ulama they praised. And they, and alhamdulillah. So Ash'ara and Mu'tazila, they are from Ahlul Ta'til, but they are Muslims, alhamdulillah. And the mistake they have made, those Ahlul Bid'ah, the Muslim, because they mistake based on ta'wil, grammatical mistake, things like that. But no Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah have made takfir on the Mu'tazila or Ash'ara, Maturidiyya or Kullabiyya. None of them made takfir on them. But the Jahmiyyah, the one group Jahmiyyah, there's not 2 groups like Murji'ah and Ash'ara. Jahmiyyah, the kuffar. General takfir, Imam Ahmed, Ibn Mubarak, Ali bin Madini, Ibn Darimi, he wrote a whole book on Jahmiyyah. They all made takfir on Jahmiyyah. So what we have to do, we have to abandon tahrif wa ta'til. Now, the ulama says every tahrif, okay, is ta'til. Every ta'til is not tahrif. How is that? when you, for example, we meant to believe the sifat of Allah Azza wa Jal, yeah? For example, كَلَّمَ اللَّهُ Musa taklima. Okay? وَكَلَّمَ اللَّهُ Musa taklima. Allah spoke to Musa alayhi salam. Now we affirm Allah's speech. And Allah has hand that befits him. Okay? Now if someone says now, Allah never spoke to Musa, Musa spoke to Allah Azza wa Jal, we've denied the speech of Allah, isn't it? That's ta'til. If someone says, Allah don't have a hand, the hand that Allah talks about in the Quran means ni'mah or qudra. It's not actually hand of Allah, iyadhu billah. So what have you done? You made tahrif and ta'til. You've distorted it and you've denied the actual meaning of the word and you gave another meaning to it. So it's ta'til. So we affirm Allah's names and attributes lafzan wal ma'na, wording and the meaning, which means that if we say the hand of Allah, we affirm the word hand. Linguistically, we know what hand is, yad, okay? And we affirm the ma'na and the meaning as well. So we don't say, oh, we affirm the word hand, Arabic, that's what it means, but the actual word in the Quran, yad, means ni'mah, or qudra, or ability, power. So you've denied the actual meaning now. You've given another meaning to the word than we're supposed to be. So, so every tahrif, ta'atil, every ta'atil is not tahrif, because when you deny the sifat of Allah, you're not making tahrif, you're just not believing it, denying it, you know. So that's what it is. So we have to abandon those two things. Now, there are people called Ahlul Tafweed. I'm going to add that as well. Ahlul Tafweed, my brothers, are the people who they affirm the word but not the meaning. They say, we know what it means by hand, yad meaning hand. We know in Arabic that's what it means. But what the meaning, we leave it to Allah. We leave the meaning to Allah Azza wa Jal. Nufawwid ila Allah. We leave it to Allah Azza wa Jal. That's also Ahlul Bid'ah. They do that. No, we say la. We say tafweed. Okay, the meaning we affirm the meaning and the word. Okay, the word hand mean in Arabic yad, and that's what it means. We affirm it, the word, meaning, and the wording as well. So Ahlul Tafweed, what they do is that they say we don't accept the meaning, we leave the meaning to Allah Azza wa Jal. طيب. So my brothers, inshallah, we covered. We're going to leave now, inshallah. Any question you want me to answer, inshallah, I'll leave it to that, inshallah. Jazakumullah khair. Go on, akhi.
One question. I've heard of someone, but in Surah Fatiha, which is Malik Yawmiddin, the person was saying that some people say Malik Yawmiddin, some people say Malik Yawmiddin. So
Okay.
does that fall under?
No, tahrif.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't. Malik and Malik is two names of Allah. It's not the qira'ah. Malik Yawmiddin is the one we read, Hafs, yeah? Malik Yawmiddin is Warsh, or another qira'ah, which is allowed. It's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. Like, Ihdina Sirat, Ihdina Sirat, Ihdina Zirat. It's three ways, Baghi mentioned. So when you say Ihdina Sirat with Seen, as you can say it, with Sad, Ihdina Sirat, and you can say with Zay, Za, okay? Ihdina Zirat. All qira'at. If you say nowadays in masjid, Ihdina Zirat they're going to jump on you. But Zirat, I know some of the masjid they do it. Zirat. They use the word Zirat. Alhamdulillah, they're qira'at. It's not tahrif. Yeah, it's different qira'at. Yeah.
What's the 7 attributes that the Ash'ari affirm for Allah?
I've mentioned how many?
Just can you just go through the ones you mentioned? Hearing, seeing.
The 7 attributes they believe, I think I missed one out.
You miss out power.
No. I have to go back and I'll mention it in the 7 sifat. The 7 sifat. One I missed one out. I'll put it on the WhatsApp, inshallah. Yeah. There's 7 of them. Okay. السمع والبصر كلام والإرادة والعلم والقدرة والحياة. That's it. العلم. Yeah. These are 7. They affirm. These are 7. Yeah. Alhamdulillah.
Ustad, you know how you mentioned every form of tahrif is ta'til. So the Ash'ira, when it comes to kalam, right, they say Allah has kalam nafsi, right? They change it. So doesn't that mean they're doing ta'til of kalam?
Every tahrif is ta'til.
Yeah, so doesn't that, so you know, with the Ash'ira, like with kalam, like they don't actually say that Allah can speak, He just has it within His essence. Like, so isn't that a form of negation of it?
They make tahrif, they distort it, yeah. They also a form of ta'til because they deny the actual meaning of the kalam. Yeah.
So
every
how can kalam
tahrif is
still fall
ta'til.
within the 7 attributes that they affirm?
Huh?
Doesn't that mean kalam would not be within those attributes they affirm? If they're doing ta'til, like they would every other attribute that they deny.
I never heard that one. But, I don't know. I never heard that one anyway. Where did you read that?
I think there's a clip from Sheikh Muhammad Aman al-Jami, he was speaking about Ash'ari.
Yeah, Allah. I never heard that. No.
There's a hadith Qudsi where Allah says, I am time. Is time the name of Allah?
Okay, Dahr is not a name of Allah, it's not attribute of Allah Azza wa Jal. When Allah said, I am Dahr, meaning the ulama says, that means that He is the creator of the time, He is the controller of the time. He promised by the time as well, wal asr. So it doesn't mean Allah is the time, He is the creator of the time, He controls the time. That's what it means. Night and the day and all that. He's the creator. He creates everything, and the time is part of His creation. So yeah, it's not His name. That's what it is.
Wouldn't tahrif lafzan be kufr?
Lafzan. No, it's a distorting, distorting the meaning. That's what it is. So tahrif, lafzan, for example, the one we have example, كلم الله موسى تكليما, that Allah كلم الله موسى تكليما. That's what they say. The stuff tahrif lafzan. It is distortion. They're distorting it. Because of ta'wil they're making in the ayah. That's why they're not disbelievers. They're not they're making ta'wil. One of the things the ulama use as a mawani', a barrier for them not to be kafir, is ta'wil. They're distorting, but they're giving misinterpretation of the ayah, whatever reason. That's why they're not declared to be a kuffar, because of the ta'wil they're making. That's what it is. So with Jahmi thing as well, Khawarij, they are declared to be kuffar because of ta'wilat they fall into. That's what it is.
Well, like lafzan, if to change the haraka,
Yeah.
that kufr because the Quran is already, you know.
Yeah. But their ta'wil, the ulama, Ahl Sunnah don't. Although we have to say they're kuffar, Mu'tazila. No Ahl Sunnah made takfir. So yeah, the ta'wil is not the denying. Making ta'wil. They made ta'wil of the ayah, which is not right, which is not correct, but based on that, they're not declared to be out of fold of Islam. خلاص?
See, I know a person that I work with, and this person is Sharia, like is Shia, and then I said a narration one time about, you know, how the Sahaba, you know, the Prophet ﷺ was telling the Sahaba that they're going to see Allah in Jannah, and like how they're going to see Allah just as if they see the, just as they see the moon. And he mentioned, he said he kind of got angry and he denied, like, he made it, like he said, he denied, how can I, he said something like, how can I affirm that Allah has a face? And then I said, Allah has affirmed here that Allah has a face. Or the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, who, has delivered the message that, from, the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam doesn't speak from wisdom, this guy he speaks from revelation from Allah, and is affirming here that Allah has a face. So in here, what is
He's denying what?
like the face of Allah?
Denying any attributes of Allah is kufr, it's major kufr. But, if someone does out of ta'wil, or he denying, because the ignorant person is ignorant, isn't it? So one of the things that prevent a person to be out of fold with Islam is jahil, he's ignorant, he doesn't know. He needs to be explained, he needs to be told, the bayan has to be given to him, the proof and evidence have to be given to him, and before he's declared to be a kafir. Now, one of the principle of takfir is that the ulama have mentioned is that first of all you have to establish the action is a kufr. Okay, you establish so person deny sifat of Allah. Okay, we establish this is the action of kufr. The secondly, we have to judge the person. Okay, is he out of fold of Islam? So if he does it out of ignorance, if he does anything out of ignorance, because jahil, he's ignorant person, you cannot make takfir because based on ignorant, he need to be explained. You have to give him the evidences from the Quran and the Sunnah. Okay, then the person will be declared to be kafir if he deny after the bayan has come to him. The clarification has come to him. Like for example, if someone says, I believe all the angels, and then he says, I don't believe Mikhail. Who's Mikhail? He doesn't know specifically this angel. He doesn't know this is angel. So you can't declare him to be kafir. So you have to say Mikhail or Jibril. Jibril, don't know Jibril. Mikhail, Israfil, they are malaika. Okay, noble malaika. And you give him the evidences. He says, okay, I believe it now. It's like that. So you have to give him evidence before he affirms this. Because he's an ignorant person. Otherwise, from the principle of Ahlul Sunnah Aqeedah is that you cannot declare an ignorant person to be kafir. Because hujjah hasn't come to him yet. And you haven't established the hujjah on him to declare that. And Shaykhul mentioned that as well. Until the hujjah been established on the person, you can't declare him to be kafir. He's an ignorant person. You have to teach him, yeah. Yeah.
Say a person has already studied, but like you try to tell them like anything from the Ahlul Sunnah, hadith books, and like they don't listen to anything, or they don't take anything from the books from there. And so how would you advise someone?
You advise him, explain to him. Your job is not to make takfir on him. Explain him, give him the dalil, and give him the evidences, and that's it. Yeah. Yeah.
You know the thing about Iqamat al-Hujjah, so you know the first Qadariyah that came about in Iraq, and then Abdullah ibn Umar, he did Bara'ah from them, right?
Yeah.
So was the Hujjah established upon those people, or was it not?
Yeah.
So those guys, were they like...
They
ulama
want to
from
tell
them?
them. He said, go and tell them, this is the hujjah, this is the evidences. After that, if they don't accept it, then I'm free from them.
Okay.
Yeah. After that, yeah. You have to establish the hujjah, yeah. Because he told them to go back to them again. Yeah.
On this subject, I was going to just share a hadith. The scholar Al-Indi recommend us to ponder on the signs of Allah instead of pondering on Allah. In the hadith, Shaykh?
You ponder upon the sign, you can't ponder upon Allah.
Yes, so the hadith is تفكروا في آيات الله ولا تفكروا بالله.
You can't, obviously, you're contemplating upon the sign there. We haven't seen Allah, so we cannot imagine Him. Billah. So Allah said, look at the creation of Allah, night and the day. Yeah, we have to contemplate upon the signs, the creation that's around us. These are the signs we have to look into and contemplate. Okay, and to justify that they're the creator for everything. He's the creator of everything. Yeah. Allah.
I have one question. Say these people that like, how would you advise someone who try to tell them about like Jahannam or hellfire, but they mentioned that how it's like temporary for the Muslims. How would you advise someone like this?
They don't believe in
they believe in Jannah, but they think okay, or they think of it as small. Like they say, okay, eventually you're going to leave,
You give them da'wah.
They depend on the mercy
on the mercy of Allah. That's what I mean to say.
Yeah.
Isn't that a form of irja? Like you just think
So you tell them we have to worship Allah upon love, hope and fear. We have to have fear of Allah Azza wa Jal. We have to have hope of Allah Azza wa Jal. So we have to worship Allah with hope, hoping for His reward and forgiveness. At the same time, we have to fear Him as well, fear His punishment, because Allah can punish us and Allah can torture us, and Allah will torture the Muslim as well in Jahannam. So they have to have balance between hope and fear. You can't just have hope, because Allah will punish the Muslims, and tell them you have to fear Allah Azza wa Jal. If you're going to fall into sins, you fear Allah. Have fear of Allah Azza wa Jal, because if you fall into the sin and imagine you die upon that, Allah can punish you for that. So you could tell them that you can't just hope of Allah, have hope of Allah. Fear Him as well at the same time, because He can punish you. Jahannam is there. Okay, so they just need da'wah. They just have to explain to them Islam, how to, they have no knowledge of the deen. They have no knowledge. Believe me, they have no knowledge. We're not going to behave like this. Is the brother going to behave like this? No. So the brother, when you hear things like that, you know he's an ignorant person. You can smell it. That's how it is. Because the ignorant people talk like that. Not people with knowledge, like brothers you have. You're not going to talk like this. They worship Allah with hope. Now you're going to fear Allah Azza wa Jalla. So like that, you have to explain to them, Ikhwa, okay, we have to have hope in Allah. At the same time, we have to fear Allah Azza wa Jalla. Allah can punish us. Muslim going to go to hell. The Prophet going to intercede for them to come out. What is the guarantee that you're not going to be punished? So they have to fear. At the same time, they have to have hope of Allah Azza wa Jalla. They don't have so much fear. They become despair of mercy of Allah. Okay? No more hope anymore. That's wrong. You don't hope so much, you stop fearing Allah Azza wa Jalla. That's also another extreme. You have to balance both two. The ulama says, the Imam Ahmad, it's like a wing of a bird. They go hand in hand. You have to raise the bar whenever you need to raise it. That's what it is. If someone is about to die, he's in Sakratul Maut, he's going to die now, you raise what for him? Hope. You don't put fear in his heart. The man's going to die, just give him hope. If someone's going to fall into sin, what does he need to raise? Fear of Allah. So, so we have to teach the people these things. This raja wal khawf, hope and fear. We have to have the both in our life. We cannot leave one of them and just worship Allah in one thing. This is the way of the Ahlul Bid'ah. The Khawarij, they only worship with fear, and the Sufis, they only worship with hope. No, you can't just have hope in Allah. Fear Allah Azza wa Jal. Oh, I'm not going to pray, fast, nothing. I have hope of Allah. Allah forgive me. What? He can punish you as well. So inshallah, explain to them like that, and they should understand. Yeah. I think it's time for Maghrib. Jazakumullah khair.